All right, and welcome back. Episode 2 of the You Dad Me at Hello podcast with Andy and RJ. We have
It's the
our
deuce.
we have our top women's wrestlers 2000 to present. We've worked our way through round 1, and we are now in round 2, which we're down to 32 of the best female wrestlers from 2000 on. How do you feel
in your
about the
hand?
first round? Oh, it's a guitar pick. Sorry.
Hmm.
I forgot I'm on video.
Yeah,
Here I am.
you're just like putting
Um, Andy, how do you feel about the first round? How it went?
we didn't have a lot of disagreements. I think we had like 3, or no, I think we had like 5, and Randy was able to settle those pretty much in the right favor, which was mine.
4 out of 5, I think.
4 out of 5. That's pretty good. Randy's got to throw one in there too every once in a while, so you don't get suspicious. No, I thought it was good. I think there were some really tough ones. Like the whole Trish, Alexa Bliss. We were still talking about it after. That was kind of a toss-up there. So some interesting names, that moved on. Maybe that we probably didn't think was gonna go on, but just because of the way the random bracket worked. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think we're gonna get a lot of hate mail about kicking Trish Stratus out in the first round.
I
but
thought she would be in like towards the finals. Like
Yeah,
when
me too.
we started going over names, like, hey, throw me some names. I'm like, oh, Trish is gonna make it like all the way down. Like,
yeah, Trish is out and Hikaru's in for round 2. So it doesn't make sense, but we're gonna go for it. Again, hey, if you like what you're hearing, head over to facebook.com/youdadmeathello, youdadmeathello, and leave us a note, like our page, yeah, that's it. We're also on YouTube and anywhere you can get your podcast that we haven't put it up yet. Round 2. So let's head right into it. We got Xia Brookside from NXT UK versus Hikaru Shida.
Shida.
Yeah, I think I agree only because Xia hasn't done enough. I think with NXT UK coming back this month, we could see more from her, but Shida for sure.
Yeah, keep it short and sweet.
Next, moving on, Mickie James versus Tegan Nox.
Damn, this is a tough one. I like both a lot. I'm gonna go with Mickie James only because consistency and longevity. I think Tegan can get there though.
All right, so I agree with you.
Oh man, I thought.
But I'm gonna disagree.
Oh.
Tegan Nox is someone like right now. If I were to look at a pay-per-view and Tegan Nox's name was on it and Mickie James' name was on it, I could care less about Mickie James' name being on it in comparison. Granted, I agree. Mickie James has done a ton of stuff. I think we already talked about that. Tegan Nox has a future. She's currently the present. I think she's doing really well in NXT. Hopefully she doesn't have any more injuries. But every time she has a match, it's good.
I'm not gonna argue.
So I'm gonna go with Tegan Nox on that one.
Randy.
So we have Tiki. I just said Tiki. It's Tiki versus Megan. Let's see what Randy picks. It looks like we've got Tegan Nox. So Tegan Nox.
I'm not gonna hate on that. I could have went either way, so I'm okay. I'm okay with that, Randy.
All right. So Megan Nox moves on to the third round. Next one's a tough one, super tough one. Lita versus Becky Lynch.
Ooh, the battle of the red hair. Becky Lynch.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you think about classics. You think about Becky Lynch. Lita's had a few. She was a pioneer, but the man, nah, there's no competition.
Wow, I'm a little surprised you were so quick. Do you think a part of that is Lita being in the time frame she was in? Because Lita coming out today would be probably up there.
Yeah, maybe. There's some stuff that Lita did that was kind of sloppy, where I feel like Becky is very crisp in the ring. She can hold down the microphone, which is something that Lita kind of struggled with as well.
That's true.
I think she had a character. She had the fans behind her. Like, she didn't have to say anything. She was with the Hardy Boys. The Hardys didn't have to say anything. Did they ever like cut a promo? Like Matt Hardy, I don't think cut a promo until like 5 years ago. Not That's not true. But they didn't.
He didn't start talking until his knees stopped working.
Yeah, pretty much. Like they just had that aura about them, and Lita could throw out that Hurricane Rana, which was always crisp. And that moonsault was scary sometimes, even though it was cool that she did it. But I gotta go with Becky on this.
Yeah, two huge names from two different worlds. But Becky Lynch is my pick too. Women's wrestling MVP, 2018, 2019. Royal Rumble winner.
WWE MVP.
Yeah.
So anything good on that show.
So yeah, Becky Lynch moves on to the third round. Next, Charlotte versus Asuka. That's a real life feud from last year, and now she's.
I feel like this is every WWE pay-per-view. Right here. If I close my eyes and I said, "There's a Charlotte match going on, and there's an Asuka match going on. Which one do you want to watch?" I'm gonna want to watch the Asuka match.
So that's your choice.
Personal preference, Asuka.
Wow. Okay.
Probably with a lot of hate, but
I mean, at this point, I think everybody that's on this list is here for a reason.
Yeah.
So I think choosing Asuka is not the bad part for me. For me, it's just Charlotte has done so much more. Maybe on the bigger stage. I didn't know Asuka prior to NXT, so granted, she's probably done a lot of stuff on the indies. But Charlotte's done it on the main stage. People are sick and tired of hearing from her because she's there all the time, and for good reason.
And she deserves to be up there. And that's probably some of the reason why I chose Asuka more, because it's like, all right, I don't want to see Charlotte anymore. But then she goes out there and she performs, and you're like, okay, that's why she's here, because she can do what she do. I don't like that spinning face buster finisher move that she does.
That's true.
That's terrible. Like a 2-inch bump. It doesn't look impressive. So I've never been a fan of that. I don't know why they chose that as like a finisher for her. The figure 8 looks like it hurts her more than it hurts her opponent. And then they're trying to make her too much Ric Flair instead of Charlotte. And that's nothing, not a knock against her. I feel like Asuka can go in there and just kick your head off and spit some crazy stuff on the microphone, and you're like, yeah, she's awesome.
I can't disagree with the Asuka stuff. I will choose Charlotte, only because I think the main stage, she's just excelled every time. Not my style of wrestler. And again, like you said, if there's an Asuka match, I'll probably watch that before I watch the Charlotte match. But overall, Charlotte's got more. She's got the talk. She can talk for sure. She's learned from the best.
Hey, but if she can talk the talk, then why isn't she hooking you into watching the match?
Good one. I know. Randy agrees with you, though.
Probably because Vince is writing it, more than likely.
I mean, that's true. That's true. Asuka moves on to round 3. Next up, we have Shayna Baszler versus Mercedes Martinez.
If I'm just looking at main stage, I'm going with Shayna. She just portrays that legitimate, because she is someone who can just annihilate you at any time. Just choke you out. That I still don't know really how when she stomps on the arm, when she twists it.
Oh yeah,
it looks like you break your arm. It took me so long to really watch that to be like, oh, that's how they're pulling it off. Like, that looks like it actually breaks someone's arm. I think that's one of the coolest moves, and can be pulled off really well. So I'm going with Shayna.
I'll agree, Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, even though I love Mercedes Martinez, Shayna.
Yeah, Shayna Baszler, one of the few. I've added her theme song to my running playlist. Amazing theme song. But no, she's a great wrestler. I think she took on to this super quickly. In my opinion, better than Ronda Rousey as far as wrestling goes, but Ronda Rousey is probably the better talker of the two. So Shayna's got the one up on the wrestling, for sure. She's still got that fight wrestling style that looks real, like you said. Makes it look legitimate. So her being on Raw Underground was a smart idea for a little while there. Even though we won't talk about Raw Underground and how terrible that is, but that's a place for Shayna for sure. I also really like the trio there of Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir too. Shafir. Three of them are awesome together. So next up we have Ivory versus Toni Storm.
Toni Storm.
Toni Storm.
Yeah.
Moving on. Paige versus Alicia Fox.
Paige.
And I would say moving on, but I just need to add no question. Paige versus Alicia Fox for me. Paige.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Michelle McCool versus Dakota Kai.
All right. So again, Michelle McCool did a lot of great stuff when she was there. Keeps coming back, always and can perform. But I really, and I didn't really get to say this in the first round, I really like Dakota Kai. She was somebody before they really even pushed her. I was sitting in the background going, why are they not pushing Dakota Kai? Her kicks are fantastic. That running where she like runs around the entire ring and then hits you with that boot in the corner, looks like it knocks your head off, and it's always like right there in the chin. Like it always looks good. And she just puts on really great matches. So I'm going with Dakota Kai.
Yeah, I agree. Dakota Kai. I wasn't around for Michelle McCool. No discredit to her, but Dakota Kai, ever since the Mae Young Classic for me, and everything she's doing in NXT, her heel turn was really, really good. Similar to Bayley for me, where I thought Dakota Kai was really good prior, just like I thought Bayley was good, but I think being heel has given them more confidence. And so I'm really liking it. She's been around since 2007. But we didn't really get to see her mainstream until like 5 years ago. So she's been doing it for a long time. Moving on, we got Naomi and Nikki Cross.
This is a tough one. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Nikki Cross. Naomi has never been a favorite of mine. Great in the ring, just not my style. Nikki Cross came a long way for me when she first debuted. I thought her look was cool, but I just wasn't into her. And it really was the face turn for me that really did it for me with Nikki Cross. The ability that she can go from being in Eric Young's group to being a face with Alexa Bliss shows a lot for her.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with Nikki Cross as well. I don't really have anything bad to say about either one of them. I think I prefer Nikki.
Next up is one that I'm not in here. I don't have a say. Gail Kim and Kimberly.
This is the battle of the Kims.
Gail Kimberly.
I'm gonna go with Gail Kim.
All right, I'm just gonna match you on that one just because I literally don't know either of them. I know of them. I've seen a couple things from Gail Kim, probably more than I have for Kimberly. But yeah. Next up, we have Beth Phoenix versus Victoria. I'm going to go with Beth Phoenix on this one, just because still doing her thing, commentating very, very well. Whenever she makes a return, she looks like she hasn't lost a step. Got a big figure as far as in just a strong body type. So I think Beth Phoenix in a match against Victoria any day, I don't think it's a question.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Beth Phoenix, though personal preference, I'd probably like to watch Victoria matches more. I think she had a unique move set and a pretty cool character, but Beth Phoenix, she had some pretty damn cool moves. So what am I saying? They're both awesome, but I'll go with Beth Phoenix. Yeah. I like
the one up for me is Beth Phoenix never went to TNA, so I'll give her that. Io Shirai versus Bayley. This one hurts. We're about to lose a good one.
If I'm going just on personal preference, I'm going with Io Shirai.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Just from an in-ring standpoint. I'd like to watch Io Shirai more than Bailey. I feel like Bailey's coming around really probably more now than she ever was, but I feel like Io's been consistent from the beginning.
I agree. I think Io Shirai is the better wrestler of the two. I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if it's accurate. Bailey is the John Cena of women. She has
But she
a
went
very
heel and is
that's
doing a
true.
damn good job of it.
She's got
But
that
I gotcha.
limited in ring skill. Does well what she does well. But I'm still gonna go with Bailey on this one. Bailey's just done more. She's all over the place. 2 belts for this year with Sasha. So I'm gonna go with Bailey. And it looks like Randy has agreed, and Bailey will be moving on.
I'm not mad at it.
We only got 4 more in this round. We got Nikki Bella versus AJ Lee.
Like I said, Nikki could hit you with some pretty hard hitting moves, but AJ, I mean, her character was cool, and she could pick up that microphone and say anything, and she can also perform in the ring. So I'm going with AJ.
Yeah, I agree. I think AJ Lee. Yeah, AJ Lee could talk. Nikki, again, as you know, not my favorite Bella twin, so going with AJ. Next one up, I think it's gonna hurt you. Rhea Ripley versus Chris Statlander.
Probably not as much as you think. I'm going with Rhea on this. Okay. Both are probably, two of my favorites, but if you look at where they pushed Rhea versus where they push Chris and AEW, Rhea really shined. Chris is out with an injury right now, so maybe when she comes back it'll be a different story. But from the very get-go, the first time I ever saw Rhea Ripley, she drew me in, and I was thoroughly impressed from day one. Chris grew on me to where she became one of my favorite women's wrestlers. I didn't think so much at the beginning because I didn't probably like you. I didn't get the character, and she was still kind of young, and inexperienced. But as she grew, I was like, damn, she's good. So I'm going. I got to go with Rhea on this.
All right, I'll agree. I think Rhea Ripley. I just don't get Chris Statlander. So moving on.
Boop. I do.
Next up is Alexa Bliss versus Kairi Sane. I'm gonna start this one. Alexa Bliss came from the bottom with the cheerleader gimmick, the glitter fairy gimmick she had in NXT, to Blake and Murphy, to finally getting a chance in NXT and then finally becoming the SmackDown Women's Champion. She's Raw Women's Champion 3 times, SmackDown Women's Champion 2 times, 2-time Women's Tag Champ, Money in the Bank winner, second woman to ever be a Triple Crown champion. Alexa Bliss.
I'm going with Kairi Sane. Again, if I'm thinking about it's not I feel bad because it's the second time I'm not voting for Alexa, but she's up against people that I like more, unfortunately, because I do like Alexa Bliss.
You're not really showing it.
I know. I'm not. Bro, how come you don't like Alexa Bliss? I do like Alexa Bliss, so shut your mouth. But again, if I was thinking about all right, what match do I want to see? Do I want to watch Alexa Bliss or do I want to see Kairi Sane? I want to watch a Kairi Sane match. I want to see that elbow. Like that looks like it murders somebody.
Give you the elbow.
So what does Randy think? Because he doesn't like me this round.
I just have to. You're also giving away the fact that Alexa Bliss is currently doing a Fiend gimmick, which is amazing. So just throwing that out there. Randy agrees. Alexa Bliss is moving on.
So I'm not mad. I'm not mad because I like her.
Next one is Sasha Banks versus Brie Bella. This is the close of round 2. Sasha Banks, Brie Bella. What you got?
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks for me as well.
Brie kind of had a shorter run, and she was pretty good in the ring, but Sasha Banks is pretty much a total package. So.
Agreed. Plus Sasha is local too. I think she's out of Boston, and I heard she knows a little Snoop Dogg through the fam.
She does. I saw I had known Sasha Banks when she was on the Indies as Mercedes KV, and not known her, but I knew who she was, and had seen her. I went to a show in Connecticut. She was on it. The main event was Roderick Strong versus Bobby Fish, that's the reason why I went to that
Nice.
show. They beat the living crap out of each other, and it was awesome in front of like 50 people. And Bobby Fish looked like he was gonna die after, and I got him a drink of water because he was like gonna pass out. That's the reason why I went. But Mercedes was there, and like during intermission, you could tell she was going to be a star right then and there from my eyes because like all the little kids that were there were all lined up to talk to her, get her autograph, and she was just super nice to everybody. She had her 8x10s ready to go, and she just looked like a star. Complete opposite of like like the way she was acting there was like complete opposite of her character now, like which is just a testament to her, and her character. So I think she's going to go far in this tournament.
All right, we are now in round three. Round three. We got 8 matchups here in round three. Next up is Hikaru Shida versus Tegan Nox.
All right, JR. I'm going to go with Tegan Nox on this one. Again, if I want to... What match do I want to see? I want to see Tegan Nox. I haven't really got to say much about her, but she was really downsided with those injuries. But before like those matches, I was like, man, like I like her a lot. I felt like such raw potential. And then when she did get hurt, oh man, like they played that really well, and I feel like that drew so much interest into her. Because they just kept playing that video over and over. It's just tearing at your heart. Like you're like, oh man, like I want her to come back. I want her to succeed. Oh, and by the way, she's a kick-ass wrestler. And then when she came back, it was like nothing ever happened. I mean, the second time. I love Tegan Nox. So.
I was introduced to Tegan during Mae Young, but I did a little bit of research into her indie stuff. She's got some big fights with Mark Andrews and Pete Dunne that I need to go look up at some point. I think she had ended up teaming with Pete Dunne later, and they dressed as the Suicide Squad, Joker and Harley Quinn. So I need to go look up that stuff. That was over in Attack Pro Wrestling she was there for 4 years or so. Been in a ton of places. I think we said this earlier. She's never really been somewhere long enough until NXT. And even in NXT, she's been in and out because of injury. So hopefully she can keep it up because her matches, every time I've seen her in NXT, as long as she walks out of them, she does really well. So Tegan Nox moves on. We live in a world right now where Tegan Nox has made it to round 4 over Lita and Trish Stratus. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Becky Lynch and Asuka.
Again, this could be main event of a pay-per-view right now. I feel like we've probably seen it a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with Becky Lynch. I was kind of torn on this one, but I think Becky's kind of more of a complete package.
Agreed, and part of that's probably again the language barrier with Asuka. Her passion's there for sure. And if I was smart enough to know what she was saying, I would probably, be super into it.
It might be too, like, not so much the language thing too, but sometimes I feel like Asuka's in the ring with people, and she's almost slowing down for others. Like I feel like when she was in Japan, where it's a little bit more physical, she can use more of the strikes that she uses and like connect. She can't really do that here, like unless you don't want to wrestle every day like they do. So I feel like she kind of has to slow down sometimes, which kind of goes against what she's more comfortable with. So that might hinder her a little bit. It's kind of like when Kenta came over, Hideo Itami. Like they're like, stop being yourself. And like he didn't look great when he was in NXT because he had to hold back. Like, no, let him kick people's heads off. That's what he does. So.
Yeah, that's what I felt when Shinsuke made his debut in NXT. It was the most exciting thing I'd seen in a long time. Him and Sami Zayn. And then you see WWE Shinsuke after that, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh gosh, like nothing close to that first match has happened since. Becky Lynch moves on to the fourth round. Now we have Shayna Baszler versus Toni Storm. I'll make this easy for you. I'm just going to go with Toni Storm. Toni Storm can talk. Toni Storm's matches are never bad. And she's just a veteran in comparison to Shayna Baszler.
And she's so young, and she's a veteran. Yeah, I feel like Tony's a little bit more of a complete package. I think Shayna's gonna get there. I think Shayna's a lot older than her, so she was kind of late in the game to come to professional wrestling. But yeah, I'm going with Toni as well.
So I just looked it up, and I'm actually shocked at this point. So Toni Storm is 24 years old. What's your guess on Shayna?
I think she's 40.
Yeah, almost. 40 years old.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
She looks like she looks like she's 24.
yeah, and she moves like she's not 40 for sure. I mean, I don't move that well. I'm 36.
I move like I'm 70. So.
Also, I didn't know Shayna was trained by Mercedes Martinez and Josh Barnett. Mainly at the Performance Center, obviously, for her. But yeah, she's only been active. When did Baszler come in to wrestling? It looks like she was in 2015, so 5 years. Actually, now that I'm looking at that,
she was on the Indies a little bit too in Japan.
Yep. But that wasn't until 15. Before that, it was all random fighting. And Toni Storm was around 2015 as well. So they were actually the same, but I think Toni's just accomplished a bit more on the UK side. But all right, so we're moving over Toni Storm. Next is Paige versus Dakota Kai. I'm going to throw it out there at Paige. Dakota doesn't have a movie yet.
Is that your only basis?
No.
I'm gonna. Oh man, I'm gonna go with Dakota Kai. Again, I'd rather watch one of her matches. Again, no disrespect to Paige, but personal preference. I like somebody who does a lot of strikes, and she does it really well. So.
All right. Randy, how do you feel? Looks like Randy is going with Paige. So Paige moves on. Dakota Kai is out on the third round. However, I am sad about that. Next up, Nikki Cross versus Gail Kim. I'm going with Nikki Cross on this one, just because I don't know a lot about Gail Kim. So
I'm gonna agree with you on that. Nikki can do kind of any kind of character that's been put in front of her and do it well. So I'm just gonna go with Nikki.
All right. Next up, we got Beth Phoenix versus Bayley.
Oh shoot! I'm going with Beth Phoenix.
Oh gosh! Wow. Okay. Beth Phoenix over Bayley.
How could you say Beth Phoenix over Bayley, bro? She's like Becky 2 belts. No, that's the wrong person.
Bayley 2 belts.
Bayley 2 belts.
Man. So Bayley, you're choosing Beth Phoenix over Bayley.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go with Bayley on this one. I think I've always liked Bayley. I also now watch the hot tag with Izzy, and you can credit Bayley for making her, or you can credit Sasha for making her cry. Either one, but Bayley is my pick on that one. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, by the way, the hot tag with Izzy. I think she's on Instagram. Check her out. She's the little girl from NXT who cried when Sasha yelled at her. Randy, looks like Bayley is moving on. He's choosing me a lot this round.
We're at this point. Anybody can move on, and I'll be okay with it.
Next up, AJ Lee, Rhea Ripley.
Oh man. I'm gonna shock the world here. Rhea Ripley.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley too, and my reasoning is I only caught the end of AJ Lee's career, and so I didn't get to see a lot of it. Rhea Ripley, NXT UK Women's Champion, first one if I can remember right, NXT Women's Champion. I think she won the UK Women's Championship tournament. So I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley too, so I'm with you.
All right. My phone's
no discredit to AJ Lee. But next up, Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks.
This is going to be a tough one for you.
It is, yes.
But I'm going with Sasha. Man, I haven't picked Alexa for any of the rounds.
I know you're
Just
an
hate,
Alexa
but
hater.
she's going up against everybody that
I'm gonna go with Sasha. No. Oh man, I hope she forgives me. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Sasha. I mean, match of the year in NXT, one of the takeovers there with Bayley, first ever 30-minute Iron Woman match, also in NXT. Great. It was a 4-way between the Horsewomen, very very good. And then once she moved up, she was still just as good. Has a heel or a face. I like her as a heel better. But it looks like they're keeping her face against Bayley right now. I love the Bayley relationship. Watching all the background stuff, some of the documentaries on them. What's the car ride show on the network too?
road trip.
What is it?
Road trip? Not road trip.
Something like that.
Jeez. Whatever.
Driving in cars with wrestlers.
Yep. Talking and driving and
yeah.
talking between shows. Yeah, that's what they call it.
So yeah, Sasha Banks. Moving on. I am sad about Alexa Bliss, but
it's okay.
All right, we are now in round 4. We only have 4 matchups. We are almost done here, and it looks like we're right on time. Just to take a quick break here, make sure to reach out to us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/youdadme@hello. And also on our YouTube and anywhere you can get the Spotify or the playlist.
I just want to see how many times we screw up the name.
Does anybody know where You Had Me at Hello's from? It's a 90s reference, I think.
Randy? No, he has no idea.
I'm not going to tell you. But anyways, let's move on. Again, hit us up on Facebook if you have any ideas for future podcast episodes. We do anything entertainment, so film, music, TV, wrestling, and we have a bunch of topics planned out for you guys already. Our next topic, I think, is going to be 90s TV shows. We're
gonna fight about that one, I think.
I think so too. We might have a special guest on there for that one. We'll try to get a third person in on that one because Randy's not going to do it for me for future stuff. He's kind of a jerk. All right, so round 4, we are in. I don't know what you would call this. One of the semifinals, but here we go. Tegan Nox, Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch.
Yeah, Becky Lynch. It hurts me to get Tegan Nox out of there, but she's not there yet in comparison to Becky Lynch. That was an easy one. Toni Storm and Paige. If you do this to me, I'm going to get really mad at you.
Toni Storm.
Okay, awesome. Nice. I was getting Randy ready. Yeah, Toni Storm for me too. Paige, great. Cut too short, in my opinion. But obviously, very good. But Toni Storm, by far, I don't think has ever had a bad match for me. Next one, Nikki Cross versus Bayley. I think Randy's coming in on this one.
Probably not. I'm going Bayley.
Oh, okay. All right.
Again, if I had to choose, if I want to watch a match between whoever and Bayley and whoever and Nikki, well, I guess it depends on who the other person is, but Bayley, and she's been able to transform she was somebody who I was like they could never be a heel and do it well, and she proved me wrong. She does it really well.
I agree. Bayley, moving on. Finally, the last one in round 4, Rhea Ripley, Sasha Banks.
Oh, man. Give Rhea Ripley the same amount of time, and she's easily taking this. But I gotta go with Sasha.
Yeah, I agree. Sasha Banks. I had it's funny. I had billed her from Boston, Massachusetts, but it looks like she actually was born in California, so they're even lying about that. But
did she move? Because
she did. She moved
right.
to Boston, probably for college. I don't know what it is, but
there's no way that accent is too thick.
Well, yeah, her family moved to Boston to find schools for her autistic brother. Which she had told stories of that on the Driving in Cars with Wrestlers show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But she began a professional wrestling career there in Boston. I think she was trained by, it looks like Sarah Del Rey, but a bunch of other people too. And also, I forgot, considering she's Snoop Dogg's cousin, she's also Brandy and Ray J's cousin. So there you go.
Are they cousins?
Yeah, Brandy and Snoop Dogg are. Yeah.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I didn't think I was going to be learning anything. Thank
You tune into this show and you are going to learn things. It might not be things that you can take to the bank, but whatever. All right, we are in the
This is the semifinals now, right?
Is this the semifinals, maybe? We're in the semifinals again here in round 5. 2 matchups, 4 wrestlers. Becky Lynch versus Toni Storm.
Becky Lynch. I feel like Toni, from a character standpoint, Becky's got it down, and Toni's maybe just not there yet. From an in-ring standpoint, I would actually probably take Toni over Becky. But from a complete all-around Becky, you couldn't get that run as the man. It was the hottest run in wrestling, and she was just different planet.
Yeah.
Here was Becky, and here was the rest of WWE, down here. So, yeah, I'm going with Becky.
Yeah, this hurts me. Toni Storm's one of my favorite wrestlers currently. But Becky Lynch, like you said, the man thing. And it's funny because Becky Lynch was not very likable prior to that. Her gimmick was okay. Her wrestling was okay. But you put the man thing on there and it was ridiculous. It sent her, she's the Stone Cold Steve Austin of women at this time. So Becky Lynch is moving on to the finals. And finally, last round, or last matchup of the round, Bayley, Sasha Banks, the ultimate battle between friends.
Bro, did you guys do that on purpose? No, we did not.
Better wrestler, Sasha Banks. I think she wrestles better than Bayley does. I think she talks better than Bayley does. It's tough. Bayley's doing a better job as a heel right now. But still, Sasha Banks for me.
Yeah. No, I'm going with Sasha as well.
All right. So Bayley is out in the semifinals. We are now in the finals of our 2-episode arc here of the top women's wrestlers 2000 to present. We have seen some really good wrestlers come out. Lita, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte.
Trish in the first round.
Yeah. Shayna Baszler, Toni Storm, Paige, Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox. But now we are down to 2, and that is Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks for the best women's wrestler 2000s to present.
I kind of thought this was probably going to be the finals, unless they had faced each other somewhere else in the tournament. You talk about women's wrestling now, and those are the names that come out your mouth. I'm torn. If I'm closing my eyes and thinking of a women's wrestler that I want to see, it's Sasha Banks.
I didn't think you were going to go there.
I feel like she, like what you just said. You said Becky Lynch just all of a sudden put it together, and when she did, she blew up. But Sasha's been consistent. And she put on some classics, right, with Bayley in NXT. I feel like anybody that stepped in the ring with her, they were going to have a great match. It took Becky longer, and it took her a longer time to find her footing. And I think she definitely propelled herself into a different atmosphere. And Sasha's kind of had a lot of in and outs with injuries and character changes and things like that. But Sasha can talk. She can go in the ring. She can have a good match with anybody. And I'm not saying Becky can't do that either. But from a consistency standpoint, Sasha.
It's funny. Before you started talking, I was going for Becky Lynch, just because of the man thing. Then you mentioned that it just clicked for her, and she kind of, blew up, while Sasha was more consistent. So I think I agree with you in that area that Sasha has been more consistent, having very consistent matches. I'm not even sure that Becky Lynch has had a match of the year. I might be wrong on that, but Sasha Banks has had many. She had that match that we talked about in NXT with Bayley, two of them, the Iron Woman match, and then the other match too at TakeOver, the four-way between the horsewomen. I'll go with Sasha Banks. I think Sasha Banks is our decided top women's wrestler of the 2000s and on.
And look,
I don't know how people feel about that, though.
I think a lot of people agree with us. And if they don't, they can get their own podcast. I don't give a damn. Like we don't. What do we know? We're just a bunch of fans. We don't know what the hell goes on. But we're talking about personal preference, people. Personal preference. Talking about, did we miss some facts? Probably. Did we see everybody in their every single match they've ever done? No, I don't have that kind of time because we're dads.
That's true.
But
just plus, I'm sure there's someone out there who, is like, well, what about this TNA woman? And I'm
there were people that I was like, Madison Rayne from TNA. She was great. The Beautiful People, when they were in TNA, what a great characters they were. There was a lot of names that were definitely omitted from this list that could have been in there, and it was a quick. I mean, what it'd take us like 10 minutes between the both of us to come up with a list of people, and so we probably missed people. We're human. Whatevs. So Sasha just won a fake award, a fake tournament.
That's true. She just won the RJ and Andy You Dad Me at Hello tournament championship.
Yeah, tag her.
Is there someone?
And her husband mistook me and somebody else as wrestlers one time at a show.
Nice. Is that the guy from AEW, right? No, I'm thinking of Bayley's husband.
Kid Makazi was his name. We walked in like a side door, and we're like, we didn't know, couldn't tell where to go. And he was like, "Oh, you guys wrestling tonight?" Like, I knew who he was, and I was like, "No, man, we're just fans." And he's like, "Oh, shoot, yeah, you're over there." And I was like, I should have been like, "Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Put me in a Rumble."
So we had a lot of names that didn't appear on this list. Is there a name that we did not include on the list that you're second guessing and saying, they should have been on the list? For me, it's going to be the tag team of Peyton Royce and Billie Kay.
The Iconics.
As a tag team. I don't think they're good separately. But
yeah, if there was a women's tag team, I mean, they'd probably win. Or be damn close. They are
very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what about women's wrestler that wasn't included on the list, and for good reason? I'm thinking of two right now. Tamina and Lana. And Nia Jax. We didn't include Nia Jax either.
We did not include Nia Jax. She was somebody who was on the fence for me. The other two were not. I won't say anything else.
No Kelly, no Tori Wilson, no Dana Brooke.
No. But Nia Jax was kind of on that middle ground, just that consistency. There were others that I felt were more consistent.
Well, what'd you guys think? If there is any argument that Sasha Banks is not to be the tournament champion winner, hit us up on Facebook.com/YouDadMeAtHello or on YouTube as well. Feel free to comment below on who you think should be the tournament champion winner. If you agree with us, then obviously you're smart. So Sasha Banks is the winner.
And if you disagree with us, you're probably smarter.
That's true. Anyways, this is RJ. This is Andy. We
Randy,
will join you.
Randy.
And Randy. Randy was here. Hopefully we won't see Randy again. We just didn't have any time to, first off, find a wrestling fan. And then number two, ask them to be on the show tonight.
Behind that door.
I am currently in my bedroom. This is where I am.
That's where the magic doesn't happen.
That's true. I'm in here alone doing a podcast with another guy from another state. So there's no magic tonight. I don't know if it's just me or not, but you're blurry. There's a lot of blurriness behind you. Maybe I'm getting tired. And you're wearing a wrestling shirt tonight.
Support independent wrestling.
Nice. What did you buy? Make that yourself? Is that how that...
No, I bought it.
I'll get better at these jokes, but anyways. All right. Anyways, thank you for joining us for our second episode of You Dad Me at Hello. Next podcast episode is going to be 90s TV shows. So if you're not a wrestling fan and you've sat through this entire thing, thank you. Next week will not be wrestling related. It is 90s TV shows. That one's going to be tough because there are millions of TV shows, I feel like, and we can only include so many. I think we're at 64, just like we were for this. So we'll see where that goes. But we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.